What is going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar, and if you couldn't tell by the little promotional that I put at the beginning of this video, the PPL has finally started back up. I'm so pumped for this season. This season is going to be probably one of my favorite seasons of Draft League ever. I have a team that I'm going to enjoy, at least I think I'm going to enjoy it. I said that about last season too, but I really think this team is more play styles and more versatile than what last season's was. The people that are in it this season, it's a lot of the same people, but we have a couple new faces that I'm really going to enjoy shit talking with, so it's going to be a lot of fun. The draft happened this past week, and it just finished the 30th, which is today, and I'm pretty happy with it. The draft went really well for me. I only got sniped one time, and it wasn't even that bad. It was like kind of a half snipe, so I got basically everything I wanted. So I'm not in any room to complain about anything that I got. I could have gotten something else at a point in time, but I chose what I have, so I'm happy with everything that I got. And when I went into the draft, I started building like in the middle of last season because I hated my draft so much last season. I was like, you know, I'm just looking forward to next season. I'm going to start building a draft that I want to take now. I built a draft around all the megas that I wanted. Mega Mewnich, Mega Sceptile. I built one around Mega Ampharos. I built one around Mega Charizard X. I built a lot of them. And I was really excited about any one of them that I could have gotten depending on my first pick, because a lot of those had a lot of things that could be sniped very easily, and I didn't really like that. So I was kind of like, well, I'm just going to play it by ear the day of the draft, and when the draft actually comes around, I'm going to try to see how I feel. I'm going to play around with some teams on Showdown, see what I'm really comfortable with playing, see if I can acknowledge threats on opponents' teams, and things of that nature. When the PGL came around, I drafted basically the team that I drafted around Megabanette. I had that plan, except it didn't have Darkrai on it. It had like some other low tier pick, because 10 picks is what you can basically afford in PPL. And I was really happy with the team. I like the way it works. It was fun. It was unique for me, but it's not what I wanted. So I was like kind of, that's not exactly how I want, because I have things like Victini, Jirachi. I have things that are almost always going to be choice scarfed 100% of the time. Why do I even have to plan for a Victini if it's just going to be choice scarf and it's going to outspeed me? Like that's the way I started to feel with the team. So I started to stray away from the teams that are based around Mega Charizard X, because that's basically the same thing as choice scarf Victini. It's just a very fast base 100 mon that can hit things very hard with a fire type attack or a dragon type attack, and that even requires setup, and it's quad weak to rocks before it Mega Evolves. So I was like, I don't like that. So threw that plan out the window, and then the P4G comes around, and then I draft a team that is based around Mega Houndoom, because I love Mega Houndoom, and I was like, I really like this team, but I can't use it in 3 seasons. Like it would get boring to me. So I kind of sort of threw teams similar to that just had a bunch of offensive setup sweepers and wall breakers out the door. So I was basically left with the Mega Sceptile team that I really liked, and I was also left with the Mega Ampharos team that I really liked. So I started to just kind of sort of play around with them, figure some stuff out that I liked, realized that one of them I wanted to build around Mamoswine, and you guys know how I feel about Mamoswine. I think it's actually really bad in the format. Well, not really bad. It's just not the best. Not even really good, but still. It was based around Mega Sceptile, Mamoswine. And then I started to stream. I basically made a team of 6 out of that draft of the 6 most powerful things that worked the best together. Whenever I was streaming, I was like, this isn't my playstyle. I don't like this. Mega Sceptile's a little too frail for me. It doesn't always get the KOs I want. It's easily walled, and then Mamoswine doesn't pick up the slack on that. It needs some. So, and I was like, I can't do this. I don't like this team. So I threw it out the window. Then I found a team I loved. I found a core of about 3 mons that I loved using while I was streaming. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. It's unique. For me, at least, it's unique. It's not unique to some other people, but it really put in my mind what I think I needed to do in the format and what I needed to do in the draft. So with that being said, I knew I was taking my Mega first round. With that being said, the first mon that I took in the draft for Season 4 of the PPL Division 1, I was 4th pick overall. So I was very close to a wheel pick, so I knew that if I could get one mon, make it all the way back I could get two mons that were really good together and synergized extremely well. So I was like, yes, perfect. I finally have a good drafting position in the PPL. I was middle of the pack the last 2 seasons, so I was like, So I was really happy to get this. Anyway, the first mon that I picked was Mega Scizor. So, Mega Scizor, let's talk about Mega Scizor for a little bit. It is kind of a unique mon. Also, the graphics, I did myself. I'm so happy with the way these graphics turned out. Let me know if you guys actually like them down in the comment section below, because I'm really proud of them. You can wait till the end to see what it looks like whenever it's done, but I love these graphics. Anyway, Mega Scizor gives me so much. It gives me knockoff support. It gives me a bulky pivot. It gives me a U-turner. It gives me something that can be a wall with reliable recovery. It gives me something that can set up. It gives me priority. It gives me so much in just one mon that I was like, you know, I'm happy. This is a fantastic start to the draft. I cannot ask for anything more. This gives me a fairy check, which is super important because fairies are going to be kind of a problem for my team with the core that I wanted to work around with. Even if I get snapped. If I get sniped for my 3rd round pick, I will definitely have a problem with fairies. So having this thing, being able to set up on them, or well, most of them if they can't have like fire moves, which hidden power fire, that's the thing. Mega Scizor is bulky enough to where hidden power fires don't OHKO it, so I don't have to run Akaberry, I don't have to run all this other stuff. I can still get 2 hits off against fairies that are not like super offensive with hidden power fire, and I'm good to go. Like, it's so freaking amazing. The big thing that Mega Scizor gives me that I knew I needed for this team to work out very well was a bulky pivot. Having access to U-turn is something that was extremely important in my 1st round pick. I wanted to have at least 3 or 4 really good things that could U-turn out into one of the wall breakers that I want to get, because I plan to get some really good wall breakers in this draft. And if I can have 3 or 4 U-turners or volt switchers, it'll make things a lot easier for me. And now that I have one of them in my Mega, that's going to want to come to a lot of games, because, you know, the Mega almost always comes to a game unless it has like a piss poor matchup. It makes things a lot easier for me, and I was really happy with it. So, looking at its stats, base 150 attack, technician boosted priority with stab is absolutely insane. Now, I realize that a lot of people are like, well, Bullet Punch doesn't hit that hard. You're wrong. You're just wrong. It does. It hits so freaking hard, and the access to superpower means that steel types can't come in on it. I can knock off bulky psychic types that might think that they can wall it with things like the Tangaberry. So and even then, Tangaberry, like, Bug Bite eats Tangaberries, and it's Technician boost. So, like, there's so much that this mon can do, and the fact that I'm able to build an entire team around it just makes my life so freaking happy. So, since I got Mega Scizor, I knew that I needed another Volt Turner, bulky pivot type mon. The problem is, I wanted one that fit really well with my core, and I was like, well, if Styrian gets all the way back to me, I'm going to take it. That's on my main draft plan. That's what I want. So, Styrian made it all the way back to me, so I picked up my favorite mon in draft format, and that is Styrian. So, if you don't know why Styrian is my favorite mon in draft format, it's a flying type that's not weak to rocks because of Regenerator. It has access to so many freaking moves for no apparent reason, for whatever godforsaken reason. It gets access to everything. Knockoff, Sludge Wave, it can be physical or special. It gets access to Air Slash and Hurricane for stab. It gets access to, I don't know if I already said superpower, but it gets superpower and Focus Blast. It gets access to Taunt, fast U-turns, fast Taunt. It can, like, this thing is just so freaking important for teams. And the fact that I got it round 2 makes me really happy. And for 16 mil, I think it was a pretty good steal. It pairs not the best with Mega Scizor, I'm going to tell you that right now. However, whenever you look at Tornadus' weaknesses, Ice, Electric, Rock, Mega Scizor can take most of those on pretty well aside from Electric. It doesn't really want to take those on all the time, because if it's like a Magneton or a Magnezone, it can trap it in, and it can go for a Hidden Power Fire and it's completely OHKO me. So I was pretty paranoid about that in my draft, so I had to make sure I can cover that pretty well. Tornado Styrian gives me another bulky pivot because of the fact that it is so fast. I can run this. It's almost always, I don't want to say almost always, because I hate when people say that in draft analysis, because nothing is almost always anything in draft format. It's specified to each game. And that's something that I can do with Tornado Styrian. I can make it physical, special, speedy, assault vest, very bulky. I can make it a pivot. I can make it a stall breaker. I can do so much with this thing. And I'm really happy with it. It doesn't have the most reliable stab because Air Slash isn't the best. It's mono flying, which means it only gets access, or it only gets stab to flying type attacks, which means I have to rely on Hurricane, which is super inaccurate, or Air Slash, which is more accurate, but it still misses sometimes. Just ask Trav. And I kind of wanted to work around that a little bit by having a little bit more offense, and I think I can start picking that up now because I have my two main pivots that I wanted, and that makes me really happy. This thing also has access to Heat Wave. I completely forgot about that. Grass Knot. Jeez whiz. I'm drawing a blank on all those things, but it gets access to so much, and that it's really cool. Icy Wind. That's another one. So it doesn't have to run Hidden Power Ice. So if you need to run like Hidden Power Electric or something like that, or a Hidden Power Bug or whatever, you don't have to run Hidden Power Ice along with it if somebody has more than 4 times weakness. Hidden Power Ground and Icy Wind, so you can hit things really hard. And Regenerator is my favorite ability of all time. Being able to come in, hit really hard, get whittled down a little bit, and then switch out and have your health back. What is negative about that? Absolutely nothing. So I'm really happy that I picked up Torn T round 2. I don't think I could have gotten a better round 2 pick than Torn T. So, remember how I said I only got sniped one time in the draft? Well, this is that one time. I wanted so badly to get Nidoqueen, because if you haven't noticed from watching me in the other leagues I'm in freaking love with Hazard Stack. I love having spikes, toxic spikes, multiple Stealth Rocks users, which I have no Stealth Rocks users at the time. I have no spikes or toxic spikes users, so I wanted Nidoqueen. It gives me a bulky, reliable rocker. It gives me a bulky toxic spikes user. It gives me an offensive wall breaker if I need it to be, a good choice scarf user. Like, there's so much that Nidoqueen can do for this team. And then, of course, Schady had to be the cunt that he always is and snipe me, and I was just... Schady, if you're watching this, seriously, still that for sniping that from me. I'm so upset about that pick. However, luckily, Arceus was smiling on me for some godforsaken reason, and I noticed that its counterpart, Nidoking, was still available. I was like, well, let me calc something real quick before I pick it. I took something, like I took a Milotic, and I took a Nidoqueen, and I took the average, like, defense, like the defense damage that it would take from a Mon, and it was only about 6 to 7 to 8% difference. I was like, you know what, I can make that work if I need to with a bulky Mon with berries. Nidoqueen is more offensive, or Nidoking is more offensive. It's faster. It has access to Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rock still, so that's really cool. It gives me 2 things that I want. It has access to Priority and Sucker. Wait, it does have Sucker Punch, right? I need to check that. Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy. It does get Sucker Punch. So I have another form of Priority. I have some really good options with this. I can be physical or special. It gives me a very good speed tier that I did not have last season of base 85 speed. So that means things like Darmanitan, base 90s, they're not able to run Adamant or Jolly on, or they're not able to run Adamant or Modest against my team because Nidoking will outspeed it, and that's really important. Forcing plus speed natures is something that's super important in draft format, and I definitely wanted that. And right now I have a really good array of speed tiers. I have Mega Scizor at 75, Tornado Styrian at 121, which is super fast. It's awesome. And then I have Nidoking at base 85. So it forces a lot of really cool speed tiers for them so far. So things like Mega Pidgeot, things like Greninja, they have to run plus speed natures to outspeed my Tornadus. Otherwise they're going to lose to a 1v1, and that is absolutely amazing. So Nidoking also gives me a Mon that has insane coverage on both sides. Earthquake, Poison Jab, the Elemental Punches, along with the likes of Mega Horn. It has really cool moves on the physical side, and then it also has access to it also has Poison Jab on the physical side. Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb. I don't know why you'd ever run Sludge Bomb. Sludge Wave is better. Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Fire Blast, Earth Power. I don't know if I already said Earth Power, but it it can hit so freaking hard, and with access to Sheer Force and Life Orb, it won't take the Life Orb recoil, and it'll still hit like a freaking truck, and that makes me happy. I'm so ecstatic with this pick that I don't think it could have gone any better than what it did. The only way it could have gone better is if I got Nidoqueen, because it would have been a little bit bulkier, and it would have enabled me to kind of sort of run the team in a better direction than what I went. But as the draft went on, spoiler alert, I realized that bulky steel types are going to be a little bit of a problem for my team, so getting Nidoking to have that more offensive ground type to be able to really punish things like Registeels and other things like that just really made it a lot better for me to have my team. So I do not regret picking Nidoking instead of I don't regret picking Nidoking, and I'm not upset that Nidoqueen got sniped. So this mon is absolutely amazing. I've used all 3 of these mons in League format before, so I'm super comfortable with them. I'm super happy with them. There are hardly any switch-ins to Sheer Force, Life Orb, or Sheer Force, Choice Specs, or Sheer Force, Choice Band, Nidoking. It can just break through every single wall that there is, aside from the likes of, like, maybe Cresselia, which, even then, Cresselia is fat, and whoever picks it is the devil. But, yeah, so, I really like Nidoking. I'm really happy with it, and I think it works well with the team. It does start to stack a little bit of an ice weakness, but I think I can definitely mitigate that with the theme that I want later on that you guys will soon see. It also kind of gives me, it doesn't give me a ground weakness, but I have 1 immunity already, so I would like to kind of sort of help that out a little bit, because my next pick is also weak to ground, and that is my favorite electric type in the format, and that is Raikou. So Raikou is my favorite electric type in the format for a couple different reasons. Base 115 speed. That's an awesome speed tier. It outspeeds the Lotties, and it speed dives with the likes of Starmie, and it outspeeds all of the base 100s, and if you run a Choice Scarf, even things like Scarf Chomp can't beat you 1v1 because you could have Inpower and just completely decimate their entire life. Anyway, this thing is bulky on the special side to all get out. It has access to Setup and Calm Mind, Volt Switch, which is really important. As you can see, I have 2 U-turners and a Volt Switcher now, which is perfect. I'm really happy with this pick. Being able to say that I got Raikou round 4 is pretty awesome. Normally Raikou, like way back in the day, like GBA Season 2, Raikou used to be like top 4 picks, top 5 picks, because fast electric types were something that everybody was just so obsessed with, when now it's just not that big of a deal. But being able to outspeed all of these things, be able to hit them with base 115 electric type attacks is awesome. Bulky water types aren't going to be a big problem for me this season with this so far, so that's really cool, because I have access to the likes of Scizor, which can really hurt them, Nidoking, which can really hurt them, and now Raikou, which can really hurt them, and I have access to Fast Taunt to stop them from setting up on me, so I have a lot of things to work around that. This does add to my ground weakness, however, and the ground weakness, it's a little frustrating, I'm not going to lie, but I can work around it. I have plans. This thing isn't really the most versatile electric type out there. Not many electric types are versatile. They normally do the exact same thing every single one of them. It's just a matter of which one works best for your team. And I like Raikou because it is more versatile than the rest of them. Having access to Calm Mind, being able to set up on things is really cool. Having access to base 100 Spadef and being able to run Assault Vest very reliably is really awesome. And being faster than the base 110s, as I mentioned before, means that I can run Choice Specs a little bit easier to just beat out against teams, because there's not a whole lot that can outspeed it on most people's drafts. Most people have like maybe one thing plus a Scarfer that'll be able to outspeed it, and with that means that I'm just able to kind of sort of sit in there and be like, hey, you're going to take a very hard hit, and you can't really do anything about it. The coverage that this thing gets is actually really cool compared to some other things, to some other electric types. It gets access to Extra Sensory and Shadow Ball, which are pretty common on them. Signal Beam, which is also on every single electric type, but it has access to Aura Sphere because of the event. Now this Aura Sphere, Raikou, it's not something that's always common, but against things like Fish Sharps, Tyrannitars, and things like that, I'm able to hit them extremely hard with the Aura Sphere, and that's really cool. And what's also really nice is the fact that this thing has base 85 attack. That's not the best, but it's still base 85 attack, and it has access to extreme speed. So I now have a 3rd priority user, and that's actually really cool, because there are a lot of more frail mons that are becoming more common in the format. Things like Greninja, things like Blaziken that can just run trains through teams, to where if they take enough recoil, you can just send this thing in, extreme speed it, and call it a day, and then you're just as set. But I love Raikou. I think Raikou I think Raikou fits this team absolutely amazingly. There is not a thing that I would change about it. I would not have gotten any other electric type. I could have gotten another electric type that I will talk about later on. However, even after the draft, I don't regret my decision with picking Raikou. I think I made an excellent decision picking Raikou. So, now that I have my electric type, I wanted my grass type, because water types are going to be a problem for my team. I knew this from the very start, and I wanted to make sure I had a very good grass type that gave me more support, it gave me access to more setup, and it also gave me access to things that can just absolutely decimate all over water types. So, I also wanted a grass type that I've never used before, and I was like, you know what? Celebi looks like it would be a pretty cool mon for me to put on this team, and I think it synergizes pretty well with the entire team, so why don't we just go ahead and pick up Celebi. Five rounds in, and I only have 37 mil left. I kind of sort of went on a spending spree, but base 100s across the board. I love those mons. They can be bulky, they can be offensive, they can be physical, special, speedy, choice scarf, anything. Anything you want, this thing has the stats that can do it, and I love that. Another thing I love about this mon, access to natural cure. I now have 2 immunities to Thunder Wave. I have 1 immunity to Toxic, and I have a mon that can just cure off its status whenever it comes in and out, and that's awesome. I have another U-turner. I have access to Swords Dance, Nasty Plot, and Calm Mind. I have access to very hard-hitting stabs with Psychic, Leaf Storm, Seed Bomb, Giga Drain. There's so much that this thing can do offensively. It has access to really cool moves, I believe, like Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball. I think it also has access to like the coverage moves like Thunderbolt. I haven't really looked into like its coverage too much, but I know enough about it to know that it synergizes well on the team. And one thing that really makes Celebi unique and special for this team is its access to Healing Wish. Now, Healing Wish might not seem like a huge deal. However, Healing Wish is a massive deal. You have a massive win con on your team. Like, say somebody just brings a team that's extremely weak to Tornadus Styrian. They prepped for it, but it's still just extremely weak to the set that I brought. I'm now not forced to play my Tornadus Styrian extremely safely. I can play it a little bit more recklessly, let it get down to about 10%, switch out. It'll be on 45% as it is when it comes back in. And then if I'm like, okay, I need to be back up to full health now, Healing Wish. That's awesome. Same thing with the likes of Nidoking, Raikou, if my Scizor is getting too weak and I can't roost up on anything. Like, Celebi just adds so much to the entire team that it just makes life a lot easier. And I think that overall, it'll serve as an amazing support mon. While it has access to all of those setup moves, it also has access to Baton Pass. So, just imagine. Just take a second, close your eyes, imagine. Swords Dance, Baton Pass, Celebi, and Nidoking. Nasty Plot, Baton Pass, and Nidoking. Into Tornadus, into Raikou. Swords Dance, Baton Pass, into Scizor with 3 attacks Roost. Like, it has a really good support routes for my team, and that is amazing. Now, in case you haven't figured out what the theme of my team is yet, these next 2 picks are going to give it away like freaking crazy, and I kind of want to talk about it before anybody gets their opinions about it. So, this next mon basically kind of sort of sealed the deal as to everybody knowing what I wanted in the draft. The next mon that I got was Kingdra. Now, of course, it's obvious I'm drafting a rain team. I have Mega Scizor, which is quad weak to fire. I have Tornadus, which gets 100% accurate hurricanes. I have Raikou, which is 100% accurate thunders. I have Celebi, which is really good in the rain because it's now not weak to fire. I now have a Swift Swim user. So, let's go ahead and talk about what this means. So remember how Celebi has a lot of support options that it can do for my team. I just added a mon that I can support everything around. If I bring the rain and I bring like Kingdra and I can play it really recklessly, I can get off a lot of damage on a wall, and then I get it weakened, but I'm still at like 10%, but I can come back in on rocks. Healing Wish. Back up, instant, massive threat. The walls that were supposed to take it on are now weakened to the point where they can't take on a full HP Kingdra anymore. It also supports the fact that I have a Cleric, so I can completely like avoid Thunder Waves on my Kingdra, and it really really fits well. Like Kingdra, Raikou, Tornadus, Nidoking, and Celebi, they just all fit really well together. And then when you add on Mega Scizor, it kind of just sort of just adds a very good rain aspect to the team that doesn't need the rain to function super well. Like, say I don't bring the rain. Say I bring Tornadus, Styrian, Mega Scizor, Nidoking, and Raikou. That's 4 Mons. I can pick 2 other ones, so I need to make sure I still have a very good answer to fire types, because Mega Scizor is a problem. I need to still have a good answer to ice types, so I had to make sure that I can pick something up late round that can really support those roles. Now, say I want to bring Kingdra as my like bulky fire check. It quad resists fire, so it's not specified just to the rain. It can take on and support Mega Scizor pretty well. Those fire types are instantly threatened out by Kingdra because of Scald, because of Hydro Pump, because of Draco Meteor, because of Dragon Dance. I can run a bulky Dragon Dance with Waterfall and Outrage. Like, this thing just has really awesome coverage, along with the fact that it gets access to Flash Cannon. And it, overall, for 8 mil, building this rain team around Kingdra and Politoed, that's what I wanted this entire draft. Because if you did not go to my streams, I used a rain team pretty much for 3 days straight with Kingdra, Politoed. Kingdra was my main offensive way of beating teams. I loved it. I absolutely loved the team with Kingdra. So I built everything around it, and for 8 mil to build something around, I think I did a pretty good job so far. And the bottom half of my draft, I think I did just as good. Looking at its stats though, base 85 speed. In the rain, that outspeeds, I believe it's Scarfed base 120s? I want to say, I'm going to go double check on that actually. Okay, so some fast math. Base 129s, I can outspeed in the rain. Scarfed base 129s. I can outspeed Scarfed Lotties, Scarfed Chomp, I can outspeed really fast Megas like Mega Arrow, I can outspeed a lot of things with this, and because it's rain boosted Hydro Pumps, Scalds, Surfs, they hurt so hard. And then whenever you add in the fact that it gets access to Draco Meteor, things that want to resist it can't take hits. Things that resist water. Grass and Dragon are the 2 main ones that are on most teams in water. They don't want to take Draco Meteors. And then if you want to say, well, I have a fairy type, it's still in the rain. Hydro Pump still hurts fairies. It does like a clean, like I think 75% to Clefable. This thing is just super powerful and super scary for most teams that I don't think a whole lot of people will expect or prep for. That's why I wanted to bring it. And that's why I wanted to draft it, and I thought it would be extremely easy to draft around this thing because you need something that can allow you to play it a little bit more recklessly, set up the rain, and get some slow volt turn into it. And I think I did a pretty good job with it. I have a bulky pivot in Scizor, I have a somewhat bulky pivot in Celebi, and I also have some fast ones in Raikou and Tornadus to get me into this thing. So I'm very happy with Kingdra. Kingdra being the main what is the word I'm looking for? The main staple for the entire team of what I wanted. So, of course, I wanted a rain team, so the next mon I had to take was Politoed. If I did not take Politoed, someone was going to snipe it from me just to be a dick. So, I made sure I got Politoed. Now, if you don't know the way Politoed is priced in the PPL, it has a non-drizzle form, which is very cheap. I believe it's like 4 mil. Then it has a drizzle form, which is only 12 mil. And even then, that's not super expensive for a rain setter. So, gives me a pretty bulky mon. It gives me a rain setter to support everything else that I already have on the team. Oh, another big thing about Celebi that I knew I wanted. I wanted a bulky grass type that did not have to rely on synthesis to recover. I wanted a bulky grass type that got recover specifically. So that I knew I was forgetting something to say about Celebi. Anyway, Politoed is Politoed. It has access to really cool things. It's kind of sort of bulky on the special side. It's Politoed. It's a rain team. Like, a Politoed is a staple. And it can be ran some pretty cool ways. I've seen some really cool things done with Politoed in the draft format. I've seen Scarfed, I've seen Specs, I've seen AV, I've seen Berries, I've seen Perish Trap. I've seen a lot of things done with it, so it'll be a nice little niche every single time. And because it's not locked into a bulky water role, because that's not the way I drafted the team, it can be used offensive if it has to. It can be used as a bulky-ish, so I'm pretty happy with it. So now that I have Politoed, and I think I have a pretty decent team that supports it, and I only have 2 Stealth Rockers at the time. I wanted at least one more because I think rocks are going to be really important for this team to break sashes that might be there to help Kingdra, or to take on Kingdra. So I wanted to get something else that was pretty good in the rain, could set up rocks, could be another sweeper, and a real good buddy of mine, I believe it was Toj. I think it might have been Merc, but I forget who it was. Anyway, they said you cannot have a rain team without Kabutops. I was like, Kabutops! So this gives me another spinner. So now I don't have to rely on Mega Scizor to be the defogger on a rain team. I can have this thing be a spinner. I can have it be a setup super. I can have it do a whole lot of things because it gets access to Swords Dance, another form of priority in Aqua Jet, very hard hitting, Stone Edge, Swift Swim. It can be pretty bulky to take on fire types as long as they don't run like Hidden Power Grass. But as you saw from the PPL, I was okay with bringing a bulky Omastar to take on fire types. This thing can do a lot of the same things that Omastar can, aside from Hazard Stack completely. But this thing, it's only 5 base points slower, so it can still outspeed. I believe this one is base 120s, if I'm not mistaken. So it can outspeed Scarf base 120s, and that's awesome if I run like a positive speed nature. But still, it's such a cool mon, and in the rain, Waterfalls, Stone Edge, Aqua Jet, they hit so freaking hard. But the main thing that is really awesome about Kabutops is that it gives me another spinner, and another Swift Swim Abuser, and another Rock Setter. Having access to knockoff is... Oh, I'm sorry, I just hit my computer. Having access to knockoff is something that I didn't really touch on too much in this draft so far. As you can tell, I don't have a whole lot of knockoff support. I have Mega Scizor and Tornadus. Granted, they're 2 very good knockoff users, but it's not the best. Kabutops gives me another knockoff user, and that's really cool. I really like it. Also, I saw Monotooi use Kabutops in PPL last season. He used it absolutely amazingly, so really helped me solidify my decisions in... what I wanted. So I got my Rain Core. I got Kabutops, I got Kingdra, I got Politoed, I got Mega Scizor, Tornadus, Raikou. I got all these things that work really awesome in Rain. Now, say I don't bring Rain. Say I don't think that Rain works out super well, but I still need Mega Scizor to do things. I needed something that could take on those fire hits. Like, I needed it. I also need something that can take on the ice hits, because say I need to bring Mega Scizor, Tornadus, Nidoking, Celebi. That's 1 fire, 3 ice weaknesses. So I really need something that could help deal with that. And I also kind of wanted another rocker, so I had to bring back a very old friend from PPL last season, one of my favorite mons from last season, and that is my boy Miltank. Miltank put in the absolute finest of work for me last season. Having access to thick fat completely takes away from the fact that I have these weaknesses to fire and ice, because it completely helps with it. It also gives me Sap Sipper for the rain, so not only is it a very good support outside of the rain, it's a very good support inside of the rain, and that's awesome. Gives me another Cleric and Heal Bell, another Stealth Rock user, a Thunder Waver, which is really important because if I want to be able to outspeed things with Nidoking and Celebi without being scarfed, I can bring Miltank with Thunder Wave, and I can Thunder Wave things and just be so happy. I'm so happy I got Miltank. I was so scared that Miltank was going to go, because Miltank has gone very early the past couple seasons of the PPL. It's gone like round 6, 7, because it's a fat thing that just doesn't die. This also gives me another setup sweeper with Curse. I love Miltank. I'm so happy with Miltank. It's, oh my lord. It's so perfect for this team. I just realized that it looks like the defense, the special defense stat on this graphic looks like it's a little messed up. I might have to fix that before I publish the video. Anyway, Miltank, just, oh my, I'm so happy with it. Stealth Rocker. Granted, this thing doesn't have Baton Pass, which kind of sort of sucks. I wanted a mon that has Stealth Rocks and Baton Pass, but it can't be perfect. It's a very low tier mon for 6 mil, so it's a steal. And the bottom half of my draft, so the top half, the first like 5, you were like, okay, what on earth are you doing? You're not getting Fire, Water, Grass. You're not getting Dragon, Fairy, Steel. You're not doing anything. What on earth are you doing? Then these 4 picks right here just solidified everything. Oh, you got Rain. You got a very good support mon in the Rain and outside. Okay, I see. Very good. So I think Miltank is a very good pickup for this team, and I don't think I could have picked anything better for this. The only thing better, like if Miltank got sniped, I was going to pick Munchlax, because it's still a thick fat user, it's an Violet user, it doesn't have access to rocks, but it does have access to setup, and it could have done the job, but I wouldn't have been as happy. So I'm really happy that Miltank fell to me. So all the way through the draft, last couple picks, I have 6 mil left, and I still need a fairy type. Things like Salamence and Hydreigon and a bunch of things like that just kind of sort of sweep through my entire team. So I needed a fairy type. Not only that, I only have 2 hazard removers. That sucks. So yet again, I'm bringing back another old friend from PPL last season, one of the other mons that I think actually did pretty well for me, and that is Togetic. Now, Togetic, while you might think, okay, Kelly, you just got a fat fairy that can Thunderwave things and be fat and defog. Yes, I did. However, I also kind of sort of thought this out. If I wanted to have no rain, and I needed a wall core, Miltank's only weakness is fighting. Togetic quad resists it. Fits pretty well, right? Togetic is weak to ice. Miltank is like, it resists it because of thick fat. So I thought it out pretty well. I think it was a good idea to pick up these 2 mons together. I think they make a pretty good wall core, a very good low tier wall core that can actually really hurt some teams and slow them down and make them lose a lot of momentum. This also has Baton Pass. That is the big thing that I wanted in this wall. Since Miltank doesn't have it, I really need a mon that has Baton Pass. So, Pokemon, very specially defensive. Miltank is pretty physically defensive. Weaknesses are covered pretty well. Another Baton Passer, another Thunder Waver, and a really good, I don't want to say really good fairy stab, but pretty good fairy stab. Base 80 special attack isn't terrible, but it can really put in some work. Now, I have 1 mil left, and I can pick up 1 more mon. I could save the 1 mil and just be like, well, you know, it is what it is. I have a mil, I can kind of sort of, if you don't know what mil is, it's 1 million, because everything in the PPL is based off of pounds, and we go by million pounds, because Premier League, duh. And I could save the 1 mil. But I was looking around at some of the things. Now, the only way I can get something that is 1 mil, it cannot be on the spreadsheet. That is literally the only way I will be able to take something. So, I started looking around. I was like, okay, Meryl. I absolutely love Meryl. It's one of my favorite low tier mons because it has access to Aqua Jet, Belly Drum. Play Rough is very awesome. Another fairy type would be pretty cool. 2 mil. Fuck you, Schady. Started looking around again. I was like, you know what, Monferno, that'd be pretty cool. I really like Monferno. Another Stealth Rocker, another Pivot, some good Fighting Stab, another really good Fire type that I do not have because Rain teams normally don't have Fire types. 2 mil. Fuck you, Schady. So I started looking around again, and again, everything I wanted was either 2 mil or 3 mil. Then, I noticed it. I don't have a fighting type. So what was the #1 cancerous fighting type in PU? Machoke. Not on the spreadsheet, it's 1 mil. Let me have Machoke. So, Machoke might seem like it's a little bit of a meh pick. I think it's a really good pick for the team, and I'll tell you why. So, Machoke, it might not look like it's very bulky, but base 70 defense and 60 special defense within a Violet is actually pretty cool. It's not exactly what P2 is, but it's pretty close to it. P2 is, I think, base 80 defense, so it's pretty bulky, just like P2 is on the physical side. But what really makes this thing cool is its abilities. Access to No Guard, Dynamic Punch. Perfect! These bulky normal types like P2 are now not a massive worry for the team. Has access to knockoff. I wanted a third knockoff user, or well, a fourth knockoff user, because I don't think Celebi gets a knockoff, actually. I'll have to look into that, but I wanted kind of a bulkier knockoff user to go along with Mega Scizor, and this thing fits it pretty well. I also now have the potential to run a Trick Room team. It might seem like it's a little bit off, however, if I run like no speed investment on my Nidoking, have Trick Room on my my Celebi with U-turn, and it can still work now, and I now have a very slow mon that's very powerful. Base 100 attack might not seem like a lot, but whenever you have access to very strong stats like Close Combat and Dynamic Punch with No Guard, it's pretty cool. Another thing that's very awesome, if you could not tell, I like being able to kind of sort of deflect status with this team. I have 2 Toxic immunities. I have 2 Thunder Wave immunities. I don't have a Burn immunity, so that's something I really wanted. And I have a couple things that can kind of sort of not really care if they get status, like Politoed, because it means it has to come in and get the rain up, or be a very offensive mod if I prep it that way. Doesn't matter if this thing gets burnt. Doesn't matter if somebody sets up a Toxic Spikes on me. If somebody is very weak to fighting, and they set up a Toxic Spike on me, you have now given me Guts Machamp with an Eviolite. That's like saying a Guts Conkeldurr with an Assault Vest. So I'm super happy with Machoke. It's not as much of a mean pick as what I wanted. Like, I would have been happy with Servine. It would have given me a cool, like, somewhat fastish grass type at least Storm to help with bulky waters. I would have been okay with Monferno. I would have been okay with Magmar. I would have been okay with a couple of different things. But then I started looking, I was like, wow, Machamp can actually help out with some teams, and that's really cool. Being able to say that Machoke is a 1 mon that can do something, I'm happy with it. Whenever I picked it, Shady's exact reaction was, how is Machamp only 1 mil? How did I forget it? I don't know how you forgot it, Schady. You're stupid. Anyway, but that's basically the team. I got a full team of 11 mons. I got a rain team. I got a team that functions pretty well outside of the rain, so if somebody wants to start a weather war, I don't think I'll be in too much trouble. And I got pretty good walls in and out of the rain. Granted, my team isn't super bulky. It's not like the team I drafted before. It's not like my team in PPL D2. It's bulky offense, weather offense, and can be balanced. So I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with this draft. I'm super happy with it, but this is the team. This is the team that will take us to the championship. We will beat everyone. We will not have a season like we had last season. I plan to 6-0 Schady. Like, that is my goal. To 6-0 Schady with whatever I have to. I don't care what it is. I want to beat his ass. I want to destroy Schady more than anything. And if I can do that, I'll consider the season a success. I don't care if I get relegated. If I can say, look, Schady, I kicked your ass. I don't care if I have to freeze you with Kingdra. I don't care what I have to do. If I beat him, I don't care. That's all. But I'm very happy with this draft. I'm very happy with what went on, and I'm very happy with not getting sniped. But let me know what you guys think of the draft down below. Let me know if you think that I missed anything, if I could have improved anything. If you think that I missed a big weakness that the team has, let me know down below so I can be careful for it in team preparations and stuff like that. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. The PPL team builders will begin very soon, and the battles will be going up very soon. I'm super excited for this league, and I'm super excited to hopefully bring home a very good win for you guys. But I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.